Welcome back to my kitchen. We are going to make the marinara sauce today. So I'm preheating my oven to 425. And all these tomatoes that I have frozen, I'm going to roast off in the oven. When the temperature of the oven comes up, if I don't turn it off. When the oven comes up to temperature, I'm going to put them in for 30 minutes and I'm going to rotate them and do another 30. So it'll be an hour before these are out. I've already roasted off the rest of the frozen ones. Figured you didn't want to watch me roast off 62 pounds of tomatoes. And I roasted off the vegetables as well. It was 6 onions and 4 bell peppers and 3 heads of garlic. That's all in the fridge. When these come out, I'll process it all through the food mill and then we'll start making our marinara. The last batch of tomatoes just came out of the oven. If you're wondering what 62 pounds of tomatoes looks like roasted down, this is it. I've got this bucket here and that there. So now I'm going to send it all through the food mill. And I'll see you back once we're all milled up. I'm gonna take the bucket over to the sink and drain it off and get the last of the tomato meat out of here. Take a minute to get all this cleaned up, and I'll be back. Here's our sauce currently. Grab a spoon here. Actually, I know what I need. You guys get to see my trashed out back porch again. My paddle. This is just the tomatoes, the onions, and the pepper, all sauced down. We are about, climb down, we're about that high up in the pan. I don't know how much that's gonna give me, but we're gonna pray for a lot. Okay, let's get the rest of this stuff in here. Turn our burner on medium. And we're gonna do 3 cups of red wine. I'm using Merlot. We have all of our spices. We got bay leaves and lemon juice. It says to bring it to a boil and then let it simmer until it reaches the desired thickness that we want. So I'm gonna let that do its thing. And I'm gonna get all the jars and bring them inside and get them cleaned up. I've gotten the dishwasher going and this has been simmering, I don't know, a couple minutes. Smells good. I'll probably let it go for like 5 minutes. It's pretty thick. And I will jar it up. I really hope you don't fall. We are good. Let's get our paddle off. Need to get it lower so that I can get into it. So let me think on that and get that worked out. Now we have to go hunting for bay leaves. I am going to move you to the other side so that I'm closer to the jars. Okay. Okay, I'll meet you outside and we'll get these canning. Not quite boiling on that one. Ooh, boiling on that one. Processing time is 40 minutes, so I'm gonna start the timer on that one. When that one starts boiling, I'll start a second timer. The first timer has gone off, so that would be this one. And we're just gonna let that sit. There's 10 minutes left on this one. Timer just went off on the second one, so I'm going to turn it off. Cut the gas. Grab the lid. We don't have orange water, so that tells me none of the lid's blue. We're going to let that cool down for about 15 minutes. I've lifted those up. Those are fine just sitting there. When I take those out, I'll move those over to there. I'll see you in about 15. And there you have it. 23 3/4 pints and 3/4 pint buckled. So I'll be having spaghetti soon, because that one will go in the fridge. If you've made it this far, guys, thanks for watching. And I will see you on the next one.